As it says here, Russia is doubling down on its de-dollarization efforts as Putin calls to reduce the use of, quote, toxic currencies. As you see with the title, tonight we are talking about de-dollarization and how that can make you money. President Putin of Russia is moving toward this at an accelerated rate. And of course, that makes sense because he's got sanctions upon sanctions and people teaming up. And he said, yeah, I'm going to protect myself and the interests that I have. And I'll work with others that will work with me. So let's look at this. The first thing I want to point out is something here. We're going to debunk it already so that we can show you that news, quote unquote, isn't necessarily something that, you should follow. When you're making a decision, of course, not financial advice. Got to say the disclaimer. I don't know what would qualify as that here because I'm talking about common sense ways you can 10x, 100x, whatever you're making, make your yearly income, your monthly, your weekly. This is the education here. This is what people learn. So it says here, Russia is pushing ahead in its drive to de-dollarize its economy. Putin said, the Russian president said the use of, quote, toxic currencies has been slashed in half, and the nation has vowed to phase out the dollar after being slammed with the Western sanctions. So I'm going to go to something right here that they were saying in the next paragraph, or this first one. They're kind of splitting them up sentence by sentence. It says, Russia is foregoing ahead with plans to phase out the U.S. dollar, with President Vladimir Putin calling the nation to reduce its use of toxic currencies. Speaking at the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum this week, which was, I think, 2 or 3 days ago. I think it ended on June 7th. This week, the Russian president pointed to the country's declining use of Western currencies. All right, here's where they start to put in something and where this can make you money. The ruble is being utilized more in international, in trade transactions, he added, despite the currency plunging in value in late 2023. All right, wait a minute. Despite the currency plunging in value in late 2023. I'm going to stop there. Remember, despite the currency plunging in value in late 2023. Wait a minute, Nick. It's got to be plunging in value, right? Because they said so. Well, let's look here. This is a 5-year chart. This is a 1-year chart. Okay, this goes back June. Late 2023, you would think, would be... Okay, here's November, and it, quote, plunged in value. Now, they're trying anything and everything that they can. But when you just simply zoom out, did it look like it, quote, plunged in value? I mean, it went down, but they used the word plunge. Now, it looks to me from a chart perspective, this could be an accumulation section. It could be like a bull flag, depending on where you look at it, depending on where you start. Is it here? Is this the beginning of a new bull market? And then when you look at all time, you start to look at it and say, wait a minute. After that special operation, Ukraine, it kind of went down pretty bad, but it almost freaking recovered all the way. And matter of fact, it rocket pumped up. So wait a minute, something's not right here because they're trying to put the spins on it saying late 2023, it plunged in value. It's it's about where it was in 2023 right now, a little bit lower. So, and when you look at their economy, oh, my voice got better. When you look at their economy, it actually looks even stronger. Now, the reason why I want you to pay attention to them saying it's plunging, that's a strong word because they say economic easing and the economy is crumbling. You notice that when they're talking about the West and all of this, they say easing. The economy is going for a soft landing, aka the inflation rate's going up 7% according to their numbers, but really it's going up double in certain areas and everything like that. That's where you see the stock market exploding, real estate exploding. So depending on where you park your money, what type of business that you have, there are all types of things where you can make money. Now, how exactly does this make you money? How does Russia de-dollarizing, China de-dollarizing, many other nations de-dollarizing make you money? First, I would like to I'll answer that. On a previous video, the last one and the one before, which will be linked at the end of this video, at least I think one of them will, I talked about how if there's money coming out of the West or the United States, and then it's going over to everywhere else. Let's say some is going to Africa because they're now trying to ramp up, but it's more in the competition with China. Some will go to China because people are going to invest. At the end of the day, people want to live their lives. They want to be able to have their freedoms. They want to be able to have their financial freedom, right? And that's a great plug right here. Welcome to Bank of Trading Value. Remember the question that you must ask today and every day. What are you willing to trade for your freedom? Are you trading your life for your freedom? Are you trading your time for your freedom? Are you trading money for your freedom? Are you trading somebody else's time and life and money for your freedom? That's the question you need to ask yourself in order to come to the conclusions that you would like to achieve at your journey. And when we talk about that on this channel, we're talking about becoming economically immovable, economically powerful. Other than, a government freezing your assets and everything, you should be able to sustain yourself off of what you make. The last video we talked about a virtual millionaire, which is making $5,000 US equivalent per month, because that is based on 6% interest per year off of $1 million. You save the million and live off the interest alone, and that's $5,000 per month because it's $60,000 a year. If you were to do just that and have a passive income source, which we talked a little bit about on the last one, then you are able to become a virtual millionaire. And in a future video, we're talking about an almost there millionaire. All right, that's an ATM. The ATM. We're talking about the almost there, where you're making about $83,333 or $84,000 a month. Now, the reason why this is very important is because when you consider what's on the line here, where you have presidents saying, hey, presidential candidates saying, hey, I'm going to sanction all of you guys if you guys switch over to a different system other than the US dollar. That means there is power going away. And when there's a crisis, there is always ways to make money. You and I and we're not governments. The governments are going to do what they do. And a lot of time they're messing up a lot of ways for businesses in the US. They're messing up ways for businesses in Europe. Hey, that's going to be their problem. But if there's a way that you can do it, here's one right here. You could start a business for Russia. You could start a business for China online in the Chinese and Russian social media. You got VK for Russia. You got, I think it's Voodoo or other places for China. And you have their social media sources. They're equivalent to Twitter, equivalent to Facebook, which is VK. And then you can make and use a translation app. You can use a translation app, translate things into their languages, give out that information. I'm already doing stuff like that myself. You can give out that information to them. You could talk. You could create a transcript of your videos like this one here. Create a platform, get followers. You can even do one even as here on X and then make one for China. You could do one on Telegram and make one geared toward Russia and China. So as dollars are flowing out and they're looking for different investments and the Chinese middle class is growing, you have a product and service in order to sell them. You have something already there to give them value. They're looking for ways to increase and grow from lower middle class to upper middle class. You got people that are energized to go from upper middle class and they're just trying to skyrocket into the wealthy and elite. That's what they're doing in China. That's what they're doing in Russia. That's what they're doing all over the world. And as the US dollar's value starts to get stripped away and other currencies are starting to get stronger and the money is going all over the place because that's bound to happen. That's how you can take advantage of that now. Now, I just gave you a way in which you can do that. It doesn't take that much time. It's like 15 minutes. It's really an hour a day to 4 hours a day that you should dedicate toward it. But if you can't justify, if you just can't figure out a way with the money that you have or the money that you don't have, because I'm speaking to two audiences on this channel. We got the 7-figure earners here that sign up for that $40,000 for 2 hours of coaching, so that we can take them to that next level. And boom, make sure I always give at least 5x to 10x value with anything there, or even more, because what you can do with that, and you're already at 7 figures, it's freaking unbelievable. So you see that in the description below. But then we got everybody else that may be just started. You may not be mid or high 6 figures. You may not be 6 figures enough, or you're just starting out. And you got that other group that's down in the monthly Discord. Hey, it don't matter, because this can work for both of you. One of them can leverage it more, but guess what? If you don't got money, you got time. And if you got money, you still got time. You got more time now, but you still got time. A person that is able to think and use their thoughts, they're able to now multiply their income. I'm speaking to you now. Even though this video is likely going to get very few views, don't matter to me, because I'm building up the brand. I'm building up the value here. I'm showing people step by step by step how they're going to get to the next level, where they're going to reach their life, where they got, some people want it, ass shaking, booty shaking women around them. Now, hey guys, if you're going to do that, be smart about it. Don't leave yourself in risk of losing money because you married the wrong person, or married at all in some cases. Some guys want some ass clapping on them. Some guys want the ability to just say, you know what? I'm going to go out to the golf course whenever I want. You know what? I don't want to have to wake up at 6 a.m., get ready for work, clean myself up, do all of this stuff so I can go out in traffic, be stuck there for 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, and then I get to work at 9, then I leave at 5, and then take 1 hour, 2 hours to come back. Most of my day is gone. Most of my waking hours is gone. And then I got to hustle up and then do this other thing so that I can replace that. You guys want the ability to get up when you want to. Remember Jeff Bezos? He said basically stop working at 12, I think, or 3 p.m. is one of the two. He stops working at that time. Let me take this article off the screen because I'm not going off of that at the current moment. So if you want to be like how Jeff Bezos is doing, he got stupid money. You didn't have to do that. And I'm sure if what he said is true, and he said, look, after, let's say 3 p.m., that sounds a little bit more maybe what will happen. But okay, if he starts working for 4 hours a day, he works at 11 to 3. Okay. He got to that level, and he probably decided that a long time ago. He didn't wait till he got to billions, I'm sure. He probably did that somewhere in the millions. He could have even did it before. You don't have to wait that long. You could get economically viable. And then what you do is you then say, hey, I went from 3,000, 5,000 per month at this job. Then I figured out, I listened to Bank of Trade and Value. This is Nick, by the way. I listened to Nick at Bank of Trade and Value, and I figured out how to make a passive, quote unquote, passive income of 5,000. So I'm a virtual millionaire. Okay, when I did that, I was able to replace the job I got, and I got time to think because I did that passively, aka you do some posts that allow you to stay in the algorithm, that allow you to get reaching people, and maybe you still do some cold calling, maybe you still do some cold outreach, but passive would be more like they're coming to you and you got some automated system there. So that would actually be the case. But on top of that, you can still do cold outreach to outperform the 5,000, but you got time to think now. See, you got a little bit of time to think, which is why you're on this video, but you're going to have more. You may even here, you may not be understanding how is this going to get me there? It gets you there. Just, you know how you heard some information years ago and then you're like, man, I didn't understand it at the time, but the exact same words and from the same person, you now, wow, if only I knew this 8 years ago. Actually, 8 years ago, you were told this information. You just didn't understand it. So this is actually telling you how to do it. Like I said at the beginning of the video, and you see on the title, how the ruble, how President Putin de-dollarizing is going to make you money. I've said it right now. You can take that and then use some of the steps that I just said and twist it to whatever you're doing. You might make shoes, you might make apparel, you might do graphic design. You might do something in IT that you're doing on your own. You might make an app. You could apply the exact same steps to those. You might have a construction company. You can still do the same steps to those. If you got a construction company, you can help other construction companies get business. You got business, you know how to get it efficiently, you can help them get business. Maybe you can even help them get government contracts. You're the middle person. You make a 5% upcharge or 5 to 10% upcharge because the government trusts you and they like to go to you. You have them do the work. You become the middle person. You're making the money. See, there's different ways seemingly to get the same outcome. And it's what I just said right there. See, it's what I just said right there. Some of you might do other things. The point is that you put in the work. If you can't justify 1 hour of your time, I think that's what I forgot to finish that thought. Start with 15 minutes. Come on, you can find 15 minutes. I had people arguing with me last week about 15 minutes of their time. They said, well, what if it doesn't work? You put in 15 freaking minutes, bruh. You put in 15 damn minutes. People change their entire lives over things they work. They put years into it, like these failed relationships they have or failed businesses that they have. And then they find out they don't like it, or it doesn't work, or both. And then they sacrifice their time and their lives for something like that. And you guys got the audacity to tell me 15 minutes. You could put 5 minutes into something that's better than 0. I've done things in less than 5 minutes that brought me some business. Matter of fact, should I put this on the screen? Hold on. I'll do that on another video. I typed up in a Facebook group that was geared toward, I'll say it at least here, track and field. All right? I wrote something. It didn't even take me 5 freaking minutes. I said something along the lines of, if you want to sprint fast, you just sprint fast in practice. You don't do high volume. You don't do all of these repeat workouts. I'm not going to say anything here because if you guys don't understand the jargon, it is what it is. So you don't have to do all these repeats, which essentially is like you running. You may as well just ran 2 miles because you put in all of that distance with those. You don't have to run 2 miles. Your race is 1/16 of a mile. You're running 100 meters or 200 meters and you're running 2 miles in practice worth of 100s and 200s. You don't even have enough rest to go near full speed. And then they try to justify and argue and say all of this stuff. I said the basic common sense things and people were arguing against me. That didn't take 5 minutes. I did that for 2 weeks, once a week on a Sunday. Okay? I'm giving you right here that I didn't reach out to nobody. It got to the point where when I went to week number 4, one of the moderators, which is one on the board of USA Track and Field, one of the levels of USA Track and Field, said, "Oh, you're violating people. We need to know what you look like. Oh, it looks like you got something like called Bank of Trade and Value because it's my profile picture." And all of this stuff. They went in on me. But guess what? On week number 2, I started getting hit up. People were, well, actually, they added me as a friend before. I don't like to add people I don't know a lot of times so they can follow me. But I confirmed some of them. They started to message me, "Hey, can you coach me?" I don't want to coach nobody right now because the coaching I'm doing is at 40,000. So you guys are not professional athletes. I'm not going to be able to bring that in. I don't want to. It's not valuable, worth my time. I shared it here because I was talking to my best friend about that, and I did it. It brought me extra money because instead of coaching, even my best friend even gave me the idea. And he said, "Yeah, most people need workouts. They don't really they're not going to listen. So if you give them workouts, that will actually help them." And I said, "Oh." So then what I did was I took a little time. Now that took more than 5 minutes. It took more than 15. It took a few hours of my time to bring up workouts because I used to coach. So it wasn't as difficult, but I've made basic workouts for 3 weeks to get ready for a race and 3 months of a summer program. Now, if somebody wants something longer for a whole season, I'll then take some time with that. But then I got several people. Here is $30 there, $100 there, here's $200 there, multiple times. All of that added up to an extra 5,700, and all I had to do was create those two programs once. People came in, I gave them basically the basic message. It didn't take me even 15 minutes to go back and forth with them. I could automate it a little bit more so that they could click it on my profile. I thought about that even 2 days ago, and I said, I kind of don't feel like it now, but people are messaging. At least I know they're extra $5,700, and maybe I put in a total of 6 hours. So that's almost $1,000 per hour over the course of, now this is week number 6. And it wouldn't even been 6 hours had I not even gone back and forth over some of, if I add in the responses I gave to people, maybe 8 hours. So just under $1,000 an hour. But if I talk about just not including the people that were arguing under the post and me responding to them, over 6 weeks, I'm basically giving over the whole week. Think about that. 6 weeks, going on 7 now, as of this week. And I did 8 hours. So I did just over an hour a week. That's not even 15 minutes a day, bruh. And you guys can't justify doing something like that. Granted, I know how to catch people's attention through my writing and through my voice. I've done announcing, I've done those speaking gigs, but I'm not trying to talk about this for me, because if I can do it, you can do it. Okay? If I can do this, you can do something like that. That took years to learn how to write like that. I knew it was impactful writing. I did not know the outcome. I didn't know that people were going to come to try to get business. I did not know that. I didn't write it for that. Now imagine you give useful and valuable information to people. It was polarizing enough that people started complaining and whining and bitching and moaning. And then the algorithm picked it up, because those whiners, as even my best friend had told me, I was nervous to share this with some people. And I said, look, hey, if they do that, hey, it all helps in the algorithm. If you're whining on one of the videos, it's still more interaction. That's what the algorithm's looking for. Interaction. You give the guy interaction, hey, he gets more people on it. And it brought it to the eyes of the people that needed to see it. And those people started adding me as a friend, sending me DMs, saying, hey, can you do this? And there are still people doing it. I just didn't feel like responding. So 5,700 is because I stopped. And also because I didn't have an automated system. I could pin it to my profile, have it there. Hey, you guys looking for this? Click this right here. You go 1, 2, 3. Imagine I have a book on top of that. Imagine I have a course on top of that. I have a book that goes to the course, I have a workout that goes to the book, that goes out to the course. 1, 2, 3, bam. An ecosystem. I am really thinking about doing it, because every Sunday, I like to do this casually in my free time. Every Sunday, I'll write up one post. And this last Sunday, I didn't even decide to do anything that was like that, because I wanted to switch it up. I didn't want to have, oh, you do this and it's kind of polarizing. Just congratulated people for going out to track meets and that. Why don't you guys do that? This is how you can maximize off of the de-dollarization, guys. You can do that right now. They said the Russian ruble plummeted. It's near its all-time high. It looks like it's stabilizing to me. I'm going to go over one more thing here. This time we're going to use this media site. It's very hard to find it. It's very, very negative in the Western media. So I had to go to the Chinese news site, CGTN, North America. So it says de-dollarization has accelerated. Medium. Now, all the other ones, they got their slants and everything. They got their biases. They got all of this thrown underneath it. This is just better for neutrality reasons. All right. So it says the de-dollarization process has accelerated, especially after Washington imposed sweeping sanctions on Moscow following the Special Operation Ukraine conflict in 2022. All right. The London-based The New Arab News website has reported. So they're getting it from there and they're just reporting it. Now, the question, quote, the question is about when, not if, the hegemony of the US dollar will end, with more countries across the global south seeking alternatives, end quote, said the report. Now, the key word here is, the key words are with more countries across the global south. So basically outside of North America, Japan, you know, over there in Southeast Asia. All right. Other than just Japan, Oceania, all of that Oceania spot, then you got Europe essentially and North America. Outside of them, the rest of the planet, which when you look at the economy, that can sustain billionaires. I mean, look at Dangote in Nigeria. He's a billionaire, and pretty much all his money comes out of Africa. And you got several several billionaires in Africa. So, I mean, there were billionaires made in China, and they're basically selling only, like Alibaba, only sold at one point to Chinese people. And Jack Ma, extremely wealthy. So you can create businesses that are now geared toward them or add on what you're already doing. If you're afraid that the U.S. might have sanctions and stop you from going with Russia and China, and you're saying, hey, I don't agree with what the U.S. is doing. Maybe I do or don't like the countries. It's not about that. It's about the money, right? That's maybe what you're saying. Hey, you're afraid of that? Don't you got all the rest of Asia? Don't you got all of South America, all of Africa? Don't you have that? Yes, you do. We need to start thinking in different ways. There is a lot of money moving around. Look at Indonesia. That's an example right there. Look at Thailand. You see this article, Wang Yi, China, Thailand to further enhance cooperation. As the money is going from China into Thailand to invest in them, hey, why don't you go to the Thailand and whatnot and invest in Thailand and see, money's coming in. What industry is there? Is this something that I can do? Let's see. It's going to go into the people's pockets, some of that. So we're going to see what happens. South Africa, there's ways for you to profit down there. So let's start thinking outside of the box here. And if you guys like the content that you have seen, well, you know, this is Bank of Traded Value. You know what to do, baby. You go down there, smash the like button, comment. That helps with the algorithm. I want to be able to get this. Smash the subscribe, because once we get to 1,000, we're going to open up the conference that I'll be using to create the course. So you got the early bird with that. And then we got the course that comes out after that. So the early bird gets a cheaper price because I'm making the course with you. You also get to ask questions that are live right there while you're attending that. So if we get to 1,000 subscribers, particularly if we can do it by the end of June, that would be fantastic. But me and the algorithm right now, we ain't best friends. So you guys help do this. If you like the value that I gave you, at the very least, if you're not joining one of those two, either the coaching or the Discord group, at the very least, give back in the form of a comment. But if not, hey, no hard feelings. I'll keep doing what I do every single day. Peace out, guys, and I'll catch you all on the next one.